Sometimes when I'm thinking about us, before we got lost and we parted, back to back we would carry on and we'd do anything for what we started. But this time we could break, I'm running dry, everything's the same. We'll try tonight, this time we're not safe and sound, not safe and sound. Back we would carry on and we'd do anything for what we started. But this time we could break, I'm running dry, everything's the same. We'll try tonight, this time we're not safe and sound, not safe and sound. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the FPV News, where we will tell you all the new stuff that's happening in the world of FPV. Or, if you believe you're at 9, we will double your crypto. That's right. Send a Bitcoin to this address and you will receive double your Bitcoins back.
No, this is not a channel takeover.
If they can do it, why can't I do it, Blunty?
This is not an AI voice. This is really me. Yeah.
Get an
Our
AI
channel hasn't
Blunty.
been named Tesla yet.
Right.
So.
Think about it. If crooks could take over my channel, rename it Tesla, play an Elon Musk live stream, and then get presumably lots of Bitcoins, I feel like I should be allowed to do that.
I'm going to say that's not how that works. But fair enough.
Get my channel taken down. Oh, and then I'll say it was a hack, and they'll put my channel back, and I'll keep all the Bitcoins. Okay, well, I don't need to do the news anymore. You guys, I'm going to go prepare for my
all right.
my new career as a scammer.
All right.
We got a lot of news today, Blunty. A couple big stories. The DJI Goggles Integra. We're going to talk about them. How could we not?
Yeah. We'll also talk about a new firmware update in that DJI update. People who love DJI news are going to be excited. It's been a while since we spent a little while on DJI.
Yeah. So for those who don't have the Avata, there's still some new features in this firmware you're going to want to know about. And we're going to talk about this shenanigans with search results where GetFPV's name was showing up in a RaceDayQuads search result, and some people were thinking they were shopping at GetFPV, but then they were really shopping at I don't know. We're going to talk about this. We think we figured out what was happening, and if you're completely out of the loop, well, we'll bring you into the loop. Yeah, we got some events we're going to bring you up to speed on. But let's dive in to our first A story? Which is not a story. It's the PSAs.
Hey, you started the wrong stream.
What? April 4th. Oh. I mean, at this point, we may as well just keep going, right?
All the chats are asking where we are.
Oh, no. So, you know what? How many people are in this chat?
So
which one has more people?
People in the March 28th chat.
Oh, no. All right.
166 in this one, so it is more.
Oh, man. Oh, I started the wrong.
I think we got to roll with it.
Hold on. Can I just do both? But I'll only be looking at one chat. Oh, this is a mess. Hang on a second. No, I can only start one stream at a time, I think. No, that's the wrong one. Hold on. March 28th. God damn it. No, it keeps taking me. It won't let me go anywhere except the other stream. Crap. We're doing so good, too. So am I broadcasting? I'm live
so that would
on
mean
the...
You need to delete the old stream, right?
Yeah, okay, so March 28th. I'm going to delete the old stream, and they will come over here.
And then edit today's title.
Yeah.
Yay, live troubleshooting. But it's okay.
Okay, so now it really shouldn't have the date in there anyway.
No, we do the
DJI Goggles Integra, not after I put the title in. Hold on. Oh, man, such a great opening, too. Oh, man. If I were worked for me, I'd be mad at me right now. New DJI 4. Okay, we're going to save that title, and then everybody's going to come over here. Okay. Okay, we've got it. Now it's working. There's only one. Yep. Okay. Well, what should we do? Should we give them a second to trickle in?
I think we got to give it just a minute for people to trickle in here.
Okay. Yeah, that one just got deleted, and I renamed this one. And they should be able to see that it's live. Dang it.
Yeah, Discord obviously has grabbed the wrong tag. That's fun to do. So it still shows the wrong date, but it's okay.
Okay, let's get the right link. Yeah, this is the right link. Yep. Exciting. Well, let's give them a second to catch up. Yeah, don't worry. I'll schedule a new stream for next week. Oh, they don't. Do they know? Did I just yank it out from under them? Should I have left the other one?
I don't know how that works. But it's okay.
Hopefully they'll come over here. Okay. Well, let's go ahead. Let's continue with we got 389 people sitting here right now. Oh no, 231 viewers right now. They'll figure it out. Let's continue.
All right.
I mean, they're not in a live stream now. They're going to be like, "Oh, what happened?" And then maybe they'll come here. We'll see. We're going to start with some PSAs. I have the wrong title. No. There we go. Oh, man, we're off to a great start.
Technical difficulties.
By which you mean I screwed up. Okay, let's continue with our PSAs. Little things that we think you need to know about, and we put them right at the front. Here we go.
Yes.
The first one, Blunty, go.
First one, the Avatar. We talked about the Avatar V2 VTX last week, along with the new camera, the Pro camera. And we've got a couple reports and also a confirmation by Walksnail that this is an issue. But basically what happens is if you go over 10 minutes on your recording, the second, third, and fourth recordings might get corrupted. And basically they'll still work, but you'll get like weird video. And we've also linked a YouTube video in the description that shows you what these issues are. and he goes and shows them as well. But we did get a comment in the Facebook thread about this by CatX Daniel, and he says it is a problem with the new firmware version and will be fixed soon. So.
Yeah. I was not sure how to cover this because Madstech posted and he said, I can't reproduce this. So clearly not everyone is affected. But when Daniel from CatX posted and was like, oh yeah, this is a bug, then I guess that's as definitive as it gets. So if you run into this issue, well, first of all, if for some reason you're planning to like record your wedding with a walk-snail video transmitter, you know, if you have some critical footage that you absolutely cannot use, be aware that as soon as you cross over 10 minutes, there's a possibility that it'll be corrupted. And they presumably will fix it pretty quick. They've been pretty quick on the firmware updates. So thank you to Giz, who was the first that I know of to publicize this. And that is it for that one. We got another piece of Avatar news. And it relates to people who use the walk-snail system. Hey, we're not starting with a bunch of DJI stuff. Oh, isn't that nice? People who use the walk-snail system with GPS units. And there have been, there's always potential for high-powered video transmitters to interfere with GPS, but walk-snail VTX has had a particular problem with it.
Yeah, the walk-snail VTX has been interfering with GPS and other stuff too. It puts out some noise, some low-level noise, but specifically on the GPS, it would cause some major issues with satellite fixes. You would get a lot less satellites, and they'd be pretty jittery when you check them out in Betaflight or scanning, like looking them in a tool. So Madstech has released a video showing that the V2 version of the VPX fixes these issues. Okay,
well that's good. Yeah, we've got a link to Madstech's video down in the video description, of course, if you want to watch the whole thing. But basically, he took his fancy little spectrum analyzer and tested it and showed that the interference wasn't there with the new video transmitter. So kudos to Walksnail. This new video transmitter seems to have done a lot of little things, like the solder pads being accessible, improved mounting, just a bunch of little things to make life better. And they certainly could have not addressed this and been like, yeah, right. You know, and they didn't. They fixed it. That's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
IDV in the Discord asks, so V1 users are just doomed? Yes. Well, not quite, but yeah, it sounds like the fix was a hardware fix. So V1 users will have to do all of the things that they have been doing, like shielding the wires and BS. But that's what you get for buying the V1, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's not a nice thing to say. I'm kind of being cynical and sarcastic. But if you want to use GPS with V1, you have to struggle with that. I don't think there's a fix. Next PSA. This one goes back to the issue. Does this go back to the issue where if you had the Radiomaster Ranger ExpressLRS module and you used an external battery, it could fry your radio? Was that the issue?
Yes, that's correct.
It's a pretty big deal.
Yes. Yeah, and this is an update from them letting people know. They've been doing their best to get these boards out for the replacement boards to actually fix this issue. For people who don't know, as long as you don't use that external power, obviously this is an issue. You won't fry your radio. They're trying to get these replacement PCBs set up for people. If you order from Radiomaster, they'll still send them automatically. It's just taking them a long time to get these handled after Chinese New Year and all kinds of other stuff, that's been going on there. And they're expecting replacements to start being sent in early April. It sounds like 2 to 3 weeks from the date of this email, which I don't believe was that long ago, so maybe more like mid-April for some people.
Yeah, which is a while, but I gotta say,
it is a while.
It's really, as far as I can tell, Radiomaster has fixed this issue and is sending new replacement boards to everyone who bought a module, which some would say is the least you could do. But I would say, at least in the world of FPV, that's really above and beyond what we usually get. Because frankly, I never use those external plugs. I just use the internal battery on my radio, and when it gets low, I charge it up. I don't want to deal with that. And I'll bet that a lot of the people who buy these modules would never be affected by this issue. But Radiomaster is saying there's a product out here that has a fatal flaw that if used wrong, if used as expected in a certain way, could fry your radio. And we're not going to let that stand. We're going to send replacement boards to everybody. And that's expensive, and it's the right thing to do, and kudos to them for doing it.
Yep. It's taken a while, but they are making it happen. So
yeah. Are they making you send back the old boards, or are the old boards still going to be floating around out there waiting to fry somebody's radio?
I don't believe they're making people send them back because that would cost the shipping.
That's true. If you have the old ones, you should destroy them so that they don't float around out there and destroy someone's radio.
Or like desolder the XT60
oh, that's
connector.
good. Yeah. Just desolder the X, and then you could have a perfectly good board that you could use. The other thing that I haven't heard, and I'm going to assume that they're going to do the right thing on this, but like some people fried their radios. Are they replacing the fried components? Do we know?
My understanding is they are, but I haven't heard necessarily from anybody who's received the radio. They've just been told like, hey, we'll send you one, but I'm not sure. I think they're sending people boards though, and not radios. So like you have to swap your own board. I might be wrong, but I believe that's the case. So
yeah, okay. Well, they say that it's everybody makes mistakes, and it's how you respond to the mistakes that really defines you as a person or as a company. And I think obviously it'd be better if Radiomaster had never made this mistake, but their response seems pretty solid to me. So, All right, that is all the PSAs, and I think we're caught up. Sorry, folks who were in the right stream when I started the wrong stream and yanked the rug out from under you. I'm terrible at my job, and yet somehow I'm still moderately successful. I must be doing something right.
Yeah, it's okay. I'll forgive you.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot. Okay.
All right, now it's everybody's favorite time of the show.
Where we talk about DJI?
Where we talk about DJI news. It's DJI news time. It's been a while since we've had some DJI news. And today we got some pretty interesting DJI news, I think. We got new goggles announced finally. I say finally because we talked about the light SKU, the DJI Goggles 2 light SKU a while back. And it turns out the light SKU's name is Integra, DJI Goggles Integra. So, we got some leaks early on.
Hang on, just to be clear, I didn't know that. This is officially the culmination of the SE light goggle leak that came earlier.
It matches basically. Yeah, it seems to match up.
Okay.
Like they got rid of the touch split thing and added the little joystick, and it's similar to the leak we've heard about the light. So
now
presumably it would be this.
I don't have to worry about when that's going to come. Got it. Okay, please continue.
It's also cheaper. So.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So this is $500 for this goggle. Which is a $150 price drop. DJI Goggles 2 SE. So you've got it the 2 Goggles Integra. You've got the Goggles 2 page up.
Oh, whoops.
But there's also that Integra.
Well, now which page am I going to?
Hold on, the second link. There you go.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so this is the Integra.
That's the Goggles.
No, this is the Integra.
That's the Integra.
There we go.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, a couple different things here they've done. Touch panel is now physical buttons. So there used to be a touch panel on the side of the goggle. There used to be LED lights on the side of the goggle, and those are just 4 lights now for battery power. They don't have the little display that used to be on the side of the goggles. The diopter adjustment's gone. Wireless streaming's gone. Speaker is gone, and audio port's gone. However, what we have instead is a sliding adjustment similar to the V2s on the bottom. And we have basically a built-in battery with cushion similar to like a VR system.
This damn thing back here.
That's the thing on the back, yeah.
Okay.
And that's they claim that to be a 2-hour battery life. You can also run indefinitely by plugging in a USB power bank, and it will run while it's charging. So at least you have that option similar to the Goggles 2. You plug in USB, you run it in a very similar way.
Okay. Fair.
Screen's the same.
Yeah.
Refresh rate's the same. Features appear to be the same. Everything else seems to be the same, but we're basically getting a similar goggle with a few cut features, and this extra addition of a built-in battery for $150 less.
So a couple things. My initial thoughts about this. I'm glad the touchpad is gone. I hate the touchpad. It's so frustrating to me. I'm like constantly swipe, and then it turns out like I'm slightly swiping diagonally instead of down, and give me a joystick every freaking time. The missing diopters, the focus adjustment, obviously is going to be a big deal to me because I use that. It does come with a set of corrective lenses, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's my understanding is that, it ships with a set of corrective lenses. So there'll be something hopefully close to your prescription. It's not quite as good as the, moving a focus knob, but at least is an option. So
Joseph Dahari and Travis in the Discord. Go ahead.
Yeah, so there's also a smaller FOV. So it's 44 FOV instead of 51, these goggles.
That's not the end of the world for a 16:9 display. 44 is a little small, but like a 45-degree field of view on a 4:3 display to me is a pretty good place to be. And on a 16:9 display, then it's going to kind of be letterbox down and be a little small, but I don't think anybody's going to like find that to be a deal breaker. And you can always pay $150 more for the other goggles. Yeah,
presumably they had to build in different optics, maybe similar to V2 or something else, and that changed the FOV based on how the optics laid in the goggles.
Oh, they changed optics probably to save money because the
focus adjustment's gone.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So there's one more thing in these goggles that's kind of a big deal, and that is they're being reported to have GPS on board. And the reason for that is because when you use them with the Avata or any standard remote ID drone, so not a self-built drone, when you use them with a standard remote ID drone like the Avata, then they have to report the pilot's location. And the way the Avata currently handles that with the goggles too is that you plug your phone into the goggles and it uses your phone and the DJI Fly app to get your location, which is a giant pain in the ass. I was hanging out with Ken Herron this weekend. He had the Avata with him. Every time he pulled the damn thing out, he had to get his phone out and plug in the goggles, and it was a nightmare. I mean, it's like not a nightmare, but so it's nice that they have GPS in them, I suppose. A lot of people running the O3 air unit are going to wonder about the implications of this for them, and whether it's going to, like, I don't know, force you to remote ID.
Yeah, there's no reason we would ever expect that to be the case, and that's because you don't need the location of the pilot if you're using a module-based remote ID.
Correct.
So O3 isn't built into anything other than the Avata, which already has remote ID. So if the O3 somehow got the ability to interface with a GPS, so it doesn't have a GPS, so it would need to interface with a GPS.
Okay, so that's the first thing. Well, let's make that really clear. Today, the O3 cannot do remote ID because it doesn't have a GPS built in. So it would need an external GPS device, which of course it could theoretically do, but it doesn't.
Let's say DJI, DJI's been working with Betaflight. We'll talk about that in the next bit of the story here. So it is possible, who knows, maybe they could work over MSP and do communication with GPS. And,
100% could do.
Right. However, the other concern here, right, is that even if that's the case, number one, it'll certainly be optional. But number two, if you do module-based remote ID, you do not need the location of the pilot at all times. So you do not require a GPS. So this doesn't add anything or change any of the requirements that would be for a module-based remote ID anyway.
Yeah. So if you believe that DJI is evil and will do everything they can to screw you, then you could see the fact that the goggles now have GPS in them as a bad move. But they already are solving this problem by forcing Avata users to plug in a phone. So, I mean, you could argue that if DJI wanted to screw you in this way, they could do that by forcing you to plug in your phone to use the O3. There is no regulatory reason why they would have to do that, and they haven't done it.
Yeah, essentially, this doesn't really move that goalpost at all for them.
I don't think it does.
It doesn't move where they would have to be at. Yeah. It's just a convenience for Avata users, and in the future, possibly any other drones that will bind to this goggle. So.
Now, I just thought, I literally, as we were talking about this, thought of one downside of the new system. So we were inside a building. Ken pulls out his Avata. He's going to fly the Avata inside the building, pulls out his phone, plugs his phone in. You probably know, most people probably know, that phones have many different ways of getting your location. It's not just GPS, but it's also triangulation based on cell data, Wi-Fi networks. There are several different ways that phones get your location, and that's how you can get. Anyway, how do you get location data indoors when you're not getting GPS signals? So when you plug in the phone, the Avata knows your location and it'll take off. But I wonder how the goggles will handle that. If you're indoors and you can't get a GPS lock, what will it? I don't know. I mean, I don't have an answer, but will the goggles say, I'm going to give them your last known location? I don't think that's what the FAA would want.
Well, I can tell you that, that technically the way the ASTM is written, you do not need to provide a GPS location if you're indoors. So it's possible that if they wrote in their code, it would totally be legal for them to write in their code to the rule that if you cannot acquire a satellite signal, you can still arm the drone. It's just an attempt to get satellite signal.
But would that not just motivate people to defeat the GPS receiver?
That's not anybody's responsibility. That's not anybody's job. They didn't write the rule.
Yeah, okay. It's an interesting question. I don't have an answer. Folks in the chat, I actually missed who it was, are talking about the antennas and saying the antennas are non-removable. Is that... I mean, they look like the same antennas as on the goggles, too. So are they removable? Do we know?
I would assume they are removable. I don't know why people would say they aren't. But, I mean, they look identical.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so that's the Goggles Integra. Now, we've also got the Goggles 2 Awaken.
Well, this is something I was trying to show between the two. People were talking about this new feature called Sync Smooth.
Oh, I see. These are the same goggles, too.
I was attempting to show that if you scroll down a ways, you'll find that there's a Sync Smooth that's called out specifically, and this is the old Goggles 2. And if you go back through, it's on the left there, scroll just a little bit back up. Right there, I believe.
Yeah.
On the left of the goggles.
Optimizes video smoothness and resolution. What the hell does that mean? Crisp,
if you
smooth
scroll
video
down,
playback.
Here, scroll down a little more. Yep, there, stop.
Can I just search for Sync Smooth?
Oh yeah, probably just do that. Control F sync. There you go. So yeah, they're calling it basically some way for it to create smoother video and to make it easier on the eyes with less visual strain and fatigue. So something I'm wondering, people are calling this out now because it showed up on the Goggles 2 Integra site and people saw it, but it was also part of the Goggles 2 release back in November, and it was part of basically when they added the O3 area in it in the Goggles 2. So I am curious to know, if this is something they've been doing and we didn't realize, where they're basically doing some sort of, they call it frame interpolation and sync smooth. So I wonder if they're doing some kind of fudging, right? We know the Goggles 2 have higher latency. So maybe somewhere in this chain, they're doing something to smooth the frames that are coming into the goggles. And one of the reasons we see better, situational things is not just H.265, but maybe some new process they're using to smooth the frame. So,
but we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't have any idea what's actually happening there, but we did want to let people know that was already a thing. We don't necessarily know specifically what it is.
People are seeing Sync Smooth in the release notes and going, excuse me, what's this new thing? And you're telling us that it's not a new thing.
Correct. Okay. It's an old thing.
All righty. We got another DJI related story, and it's related to this one because the firmware that came out to support the Goggles Integra also had this new feature in it. But this new feature is for existing hobby users of O3 Air units. And it is that the DJI O3 finally has some level of support for high definition OSD. So the firmware version is 01050000. That's for the Goggles 2. And it means that you get a 53 by 20 canvas to use with Betaflight OSD. So you do actually get the high definition canvas, but what you don't get is automatic detection of high definition mode. So you will need to go into the CLI and manually set the canvas dimensions. In fact, hang on one second. I recently ran into this issue where I copied the CLI from one quad to another and it had the wrong canvas dimensions. And my OSD was all messed up and I could not figure out what was going on. So if we look over here in this text file of mine, in your CLI dump, there are two options: set OSD canvas width and set OSD canvas height. And for walk snail and for this new O3, the correct canvas width and height are 53 by 20. And for WTFOS, It's some other numbers, and it turns out, I don't know what they are, but it doesn't matter because with WTFOS, the video transmitter communicates that value to the flight controller automatically. You don't need to set it manually. But with all the other video transmitters, you need to set it manually. And now you can, with the O3, finally get HD OSD. Whew. Okay.
Yep.
Get anything I left out?
No, that sounds about right. We're
Awesome.
happy that DJI put Betaflight in the firmware notes and that they're actually making an effort to participate. So it's great.
Yeah, I'm super psyched. I'm going to do this immediately on all of my O3. If you don't know how, like the HD OSD means you can use the full widescreen of your, not just have your OSD be in the center, and you get like smaller characters with more resolution. It's just fantastic. So you definitely want this. Now I have to make another tutorial, unfortunately, showing how to do it with the O3 because the old tutorial doesn't work because they didn't implement the frickin' ability to auto detect the canvas size, but hey.
Yeah, and to be clear, this update also pushes HDOSD for the Air Unit and Vista as well through the Goggles 2.
Okay.
So now the Goggles 2 support that full HD. Also, for anybody who's trying to find this and can't and are frustrated, it's in the display menu under a setting called canvas mode, and you need to switch it from normal to HD to get this to work.
Oh, you need to make a change in the goggle menu.
That's correct.
Dang.
Yes.
I mean, okay, I guess that makes sense. Once again, if they had fully implemented, so Betaflight 4.4 implemented the ability for the VTX to talk to the flight controller. That's the short version of this. And that means that this stuff could all be handled automatically. The flight controller could say, hey, I support high definition OSD. The VTX could say, yay, so do I. Okay, let's do it. And it would all be automatic. And that, in fact, is what WTFOS does. Yay, WTFOS. But it's nice that they have the option at all. Okay. Okay, let's move away from DJI news. This is not just the DJI news show.
Yeah, this is not the DJI news show. That's true. It used to be sort of like that.
The V2, that's an interesting question. Hang on, before we go on. The V2 goggles, when used with the O3 Air unit, do they also get this, Blunty? Are they also supporting 0105, whatever?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah. That's what I was trying to tell you. Yeah, so HDOSD works for the goggles, the Air unit and the Vista as well on the Goggles 2. That is in the release notes. The V2 goggles do not get it. The V2
goggles do not get it. That's what I'm asking.
The V2 goggles do not get it. The V2 goggle release notes, as far as I saw, only list O3, not the original Air unit and Vista. Because
with this new firmware, the Vista and original Air unit don't work with the V2 goggles anymore. They only work with the Goggles 2. Because 01.01 broke backwards compatibility.
Sure. Maybe that's why, but yeah, either way, they don't list specifically that you can do that. So.
Okay. Well.
No, Joseph, there's also a Goggle V2 firmware update. It just only affects the O3. Just responding to somebody in chat.
Gotcha.
It's not just a Goggle 2 update.
All right. Let's talk about a little bit of drama in the FPV community, but we are not going to be here to play to the drama and stir up fire and brimstone and anger. We are going to be here to try to explain why it's not as bad as it might have seemed at first. And it started with somebody posting on Facebook in the RaceDayQuads group asking about this search result. They had searched for RaceDayQuads, and what they got was a link to GetFPV, but it says RaceDayQuads in the search result. And in fact, Tyler Brennan said that sometimes occasionally people would show up at RaceDayQuads to pick up their order, and they had accidentally ordered from GetFPV, which I'm not sure how you mix that up, but okay. And so there was some question as to whether GetFPV was being a little shady by tricking people into thinking they were shopping at the wrong store. Here's a Pyrodrone example. But it turns out it's not quite like that, is it, Blunty?
Yeah, I think it's a couple different things. One is, for anybody who doesn't know, like if we look back at that, let's pull that example back up so we can see. If you look at this example, you could see in this example, Pyrodrone is in the title, right? Pyrodrone-GetFPV online, the official store. So it looks like the title of the website is Pyrodrone to trap people in. And
That's
then you
exactly
see
right.
getfpv.com. That's the main website. However, if we look up here, it's the same exact thing. The difference is RaceDayQuads has been filled in instead. So I think the thing we should point out here is that this is likely something that's auto-filled. It's not like they're setting up a list of targets. It's basically they're setting up a list of tags or key terms to like show up in the same search. So they want to say like anybody who's looking at RaceDayQuads, we also want to show up in those searches. But instead, what's happened is they've included the tag into the title.
Yeah.
So now it looks like they're actually showing up first, which is even worse.
Yeah.
So they have better SEO to show up, and then they're showing up as the other company.
So it's like if I search for FPV goggles, somehow GetFPV's marketing team has set up a thing within Google where when I search for FPV goggles, a page shows up that says FPV goggles, GetFPV.
Right. Exactly.
And somehow RaceDayQuads and Pyrodrone are getting lumped into that algorithm, which ends up with people shopping at the wrong store by accident. But it doesn't seem like this is what people originally thought was GetFPV is intentionally targeting these stores and trying to trick people. And it seems like what's actually happened is this is an algorithmic thing that is sort of having an unintended result. And in fact, my understanding is that the folks at GetFPV and the folks at RaceDayQuads have talked to whoever it is that is in charge of this kind of thing and have fixed it so it doesn't happen anymore.
Also, we should point out, if you want to look at that, just to show that third picture on the Imager album, it is actually the case that...
wait. Where's the third
back on the
picture?
album.
Back on the album. Yeah. Thank you.
So if we scroll to the bottom, we'll also see one for GetFPV. It's not quite as egregious. It's not GetFPV together. But Rotor Riot also does something similar. If you search for GetFPV, you see GetFPV drone racing. And Rotor Riot's not even in the title, but it's actually Rotor Riot's website. So
it seems like there's just a pile of keywords that these marketing people target. And if you search for it, then you show up at the top of the list and the keyword is in there. And like by accident, the name of the store got lumped in as a keyword. And as we see in this post, Tyler says, we're working on fixing this. And representative from GetFPV says that it has been fixed and it was not intentional. And yeah, there you go. So if you ever ran into that in the past and were confused, that's why it happened. And it shouldn't happen again.
Yeah, that's hopefully the case. So,
yeah. All righty. Well, let's take a second. No, let's continue. Sorry, I thought we were going to do plugs. I misremembered. Let's talk about another plug for tiny whoop batteries. No, we're going to do plugs after this. That'll be a great segue. I'll remember that. What's the deal with this plug, Blunty? Do we need another plug for, do we really need another plug for tiny whoop batteries?
Well, so this is a little bit different. This is a new Whoop plug. So we've talked before about the BT2 plugs. We talked about GMB27 plugs, different kinds of plugs that you could have as options. However, we've had issues because, one, the BT2 plugs are difficult to use because BT2 plugs are proprietary typically to Beta FPV or people who pay Beta FPV to use the plugs. That's my understanding. GMB27 plugs have been made by different manufacturers, but one of the issues that it's caused is they've caused a little bit of different sizing and shaping, which I'm kind of worried about with this plug as well. The molds were sometimes a little bit off. However, what they've done now is they've released a new plug type that they are saying is BT2 compatible.
Okay.
And basically, this will allow you to plug in this connector to a BT2 or a BT2 to this connector. It's called the A30 connector.
Is Beta FPV like going to go after them and be like, "Hey, you can't do that"? Are they violating some?
I doubt it.
I mean, I say, are they violating a patent? And then I realize we're talking about China, and I'm like, I don't know.
I think that's exactly where I'm going with this too. I really doubt that's going to happen, but. Yeah, I mean, it certainly would be infringing if it was in the U.S., I would think.
So this one doesn't require... So the thing about the BT210 connector is that only Beta FPV makes them, which given
seems to be the case, or they license them, but it's with a fee, right? That's my understanding.
Right.
Yeah.
So they'll sell them to you or they'll license them. But we haven't seen manufacturing inconsistencies with the BT 2.0 like we have with the GMB 2.7. They've been very consistent. But a lot of people don't use them probably because, they don't want to pay $1, whatever it is, on a $5 battery just to give beta FPV. And so this one doesn't have the licensing associated with it. Is that right?
That's that's my understanding. Just like the GMB 27, you can, as far as I know.
Okay.
But I don't. They haven't posted any information about that. They've listed nothing about licensing or who can use it or how you'll be able to use it or what it's on at all. So I don't want to make presumptions about anything like that.
Noid FPV in the chat says it's not fully reverse compatible. A30 batteries can be used on BT 2.0 connectors, but BT 2.0 batteries can't be used on A30 connectors.
Okay.
So you would commit to buying, if you already have a quad with a BT 2.0 connector, you can try out some A30 batteries and see if you like them. That makes some sense because the user just buys one BT 2.0 connector, puts it on their quad, and gets on with their life. But the batteries you have to buy a ton of. That makes sense.
Interesting. Yeah, they just say on their page fully compatible. So that's interesting.
Well, maybe he's wrong. I don't know. It looks like look here, Blunty. It looks like they've got a little notch here. It seems like that would prevent a BT 2.0 battery from being plugged in. Right? This will clearly go into a BT 2.0 connector that doesn't have the notch. But the notch will prevent a BT 2.0 battery from being plugged in. And maybe that's how they're avoiding, totally getting sued or violating beta FPV.
Okay, fair enough.
All right. Now, my favorite part of the show, the plugs. We're going to take a second and plug our websites and our pluggable items. I hope you'll stick around for just a minute or two before we get back to the news. And let's switch it up, Blunty. Let's switch it up this week. You go first.
All right. The first website is ItsBlunty.com, where you can go and get troubleshooting support from me. I do an hourly troubleshooting service. You can message me on Discord and possibly get help without any troubleshooting. My Discord is listed right there. Or you can sign up for my Patreon on the same website and give me some money if you'd like to give me some money.
Yeah, you always, I respect, and I always do this too. I respect that whenever somebody reaches out and says, can I pay you for a call? The very first thing you try to do is solve their problem for them for free. Right? Yep. If you really want to get on the phone with me, I will. But if we can do it over email, I'll do it for free.
Sometimes I fight people because I'm not going to take your money. You know what I mean? Sometimes people are like, just pay me. We'll get on a call. We'll fix it. And I'm like, yeah, but I know more about the situation than you do. So I'm aware of it. This might not be fixable on a call. It's going to take me 5 minutes of involvement and you a lot longer. I'm going to be waiting for nothing. You're paying me for nothing. You know what I mean? So just trust me. We'll work through it. And if you need to pay me, we could get the payment.
So I was going to say, I had a guy, and he was like, yeah, I contacted Blunty, but it kind of seemed like he didn't want to take my call. And I was like, oh, no, I'm sure he was just trying to help you solve your problem for free. I'm sure he'll get on the phone with you, but I guess I might have been wrong. You might have actually been blowing him off.
Well, I'm helping them, but I'm just saying I'm not going to, I don't know. People are like, just let me pay you and get on a call. And that's not, if I can't directly help you for sure, I'm not going to do that because I don't feel comfortable with that.
It's very principled of you.
Yeah. No matter what you think, it's my job. I get to decide.
You're 100% right. At a certain point, I'd just be like, okay, hey, I've told you 3 times, right?
Yes, that's what I try to tell people. It's I understand you want to give me money. I don't want to take it right now. We'll talk about it later. Okay. Yeah, please let me help you. Is where I'm normally coming from, because we can often fix things and it's no problem. You think it's way worse than it is, and it actually takes the flash in an SD card and plug it on the radio. You're good to stuff like that.
The third time, I'd just be like, fine, take your money.
We're on a phone call and I'm waiting around where they're flashing. I feel bad.
You don't want to be on the phone call and wasting time.
I don't want to be wasting their money. You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting here. I don't want to be wasting time while they're wasting money. If I'm on the call, let's be doing something, or let's be, I don't know. That's where I'm at. I don't want you to pay me to wait while you flash. Unless that's something we're trying to do, you know what I mean?
Yeah. All right.
So, okay.
Thank you, Black Jungle, for the meme. That's perfect. That's so goddamn dead on. FPVknowitall.com. That's my website. Home of the ultimate FPV shopping list, where you could get suggestions for parts in lots of different categories. If you want to know what products I would recommend, if you're just getting back into FPV after a long time and you're like, what is the I want to say the latest, but it's not always the latest. What's a good choice? What's a good choice? You can just pick a category and go take a look at recommendations. Also, lots of technical information, discussion. FPVknowitall.com. Check it out.
Yeah. We've also got the Joshua Bardwell live stream clips channel. Everybody get over there and subscribe. If you're not subscribed, you better get over there and subscribe to the live stream clips channel, because it's great. We list clips from each of your weekly live streams, and then we do the news clips as well to try to include everything. The latest clip is 3 frames or 3 Binafly frames versus each other. GetRC Mark V versus Evo F5X versus the AOS 5. So everybody loves.
That's going to do well.
Comparisons, yes, that's true.
Yeah, everybody loves compare. Like 70 views per hour versus 22 and 7, 8. No, that video is going to take off for sure.
Yep. So, if you guys are interested, go subscribe to the Livestream Clips channel. We appreciate the support. Definitely helps us out. We're going to be trying to get some more clips out pretty soon, and we'll see how that goes.
All right. And one more thing we want to mention is the searchfpv.com is the FPV product search engine. If you want to search for products at different stores, you can pick your region. Like I'll pick North America, all of North America, including Canada. And you can search for stuff that's in stock, or you can just search for anything. If you want to do a price comparison, DJI Goggles Integra. I don't think anybody's going to actually have them. Let's find out, though. How would you know?
I don't know how it gets scraped, but I think somebody just listed them. So,
well, do we see the Integra in here anywhere? I don't think we do.
GetFPV listed them, but maybe not. Oh, did I just see them there?
They did.
Okay, yep.
It's up for pre-order. Oh, it's listed as $0. That's interesting. It must be because it's a pre-order. That's interesting. Yeah. So a great way to comparison shop for FPV stuff. Searchfpv.com. Yeah. Does SearchFPV automatically use affiliate links? It doesn't use my affiliate links. It uses a separate set of affiliate links, because I thought that my affiliate links are like for when I recommend products, and I thought that using them on the search store site might not be consistent with what stores expected. So when we set up they do use affiliate links, yes. But we went to the stores and told them exactly what they were going to be used for, and said, if you want to set up a separate account from the one, because like when I recommend a product, that has a different value than when like you just search for a product. So they are affiliate links, but they're not the same affiliate links I use. I don't know if that matters. SearchFPV is useless for the EU. What do you mean? What do you mean it's useless for the EU, Johan? We got Europe stores. Okay, some of those Europe stores are actually Asian, but like Drone Authority in the UK, Unmanned Tech in the UK, FPV24 in Germany. Those are European stores. Tell me what you mean. I'd love to know. I'm surprised to hear you say that. And if there's something we could be doing better, I would definitely like to know about it. But tell me in the chat, because we're going to get on with the news.
Yeah. All right. Now we're done with plugs, and we're on to the Creator Spotlight.
Yeah.
So if there's one thing that's been in the news lately, all over the news, what would you say that is? If there's one thing that's been all over the legitimate news lately.
Artificial intelligence.
That's correct. Artificial intelligence. Yes, it is artificial intelligence. AI is here to FPV. We've got a creator spotlight by Simon Clark. And Simon Clark has made a video
Okay.
And he has done it by taking 1,470 AI-generated images based on previous flights that he's made at this location. So he took a bunch of flights, he ran it through the algorithm, and then he had AI put together a
Whoa.
a different version of this. So.
Okay, so these are all frames, image frames from real flights, but sort of fed into an AI algorithm.
Based on a previous flight. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, these are all AI-generated frames based on a previous flight. I see. Okay,
Yeah.
let's look at it. Wow. So this is a real flight, but he's doing something similar to what Corridor Crew did with their anime video, where each frame is being sort of interpreted by AI and stylized by AI, creating this weird stylized video. That's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, so pretty neat stuff.
That's really cool.
And more, yeah, we got more and more AI invading us, invading our everything. So yeah, kind of neat to see.
So presumably he could then apply some other kind of style to it and make it look different, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Well, we've got a link to Simon's Instagram if you want to go check that out down in the video description.
Yeah.
What else?
We have another creator spotlight today. We have two. Normally we only have one, but I've got another one I thought was very worth showing by Ian Tunney. And if you go to the, I've got a link there for a clip section you can show. So if you click on that second one.
Oh, great. So prepared, Blunty. Unlike me.
Let's unmute that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Social media isn't really a factor in any of this. I mean, it kind of is, but like it also isn't. And let me explain that a little better. That was probably the biggest false preconceived notion I had as I was maturing and navigating this industry, is thinking like, oh my God, I need views to be successful. You know, we're on Instagram 24/7, at least I am. I'm constantly seeing like all these huge production companies, all these massive drones, all these like crazy numbers that people are getting, all the cool work that people are doing. And I'm like, oh my God, like I have to put my stuff out there. I have to get views. That's the only way I'm going to be successful. How will people know? I was running on TikTok for a really long time. Ended up getting 8 million views on something. I got 45,000 followers overnight. But I didn't get any paid work from that. And I realized like 8 million views from people that don't give a shit about you are way less important than one view from a producer or a director that actually cares and can see what you're bringing to the table.
Okay, we can stop there.
The way I've kind of...
Yeah, but so this guy's Ian Tunney. He's done quite a bit of commercial work, but he wanted to share his perspective because he's a much smaller creator. And he went the route of going through, he basically shares a story here. He went through the route of being a PA on sets. And then he went from being a PA on sets to using that knowledge as a PA to know how sets work and, squeezing his way in as an FPV pilot for some of these things. So
yeah, and
now
in
he's
case
doing professional work.
Yeah, and in case like my first thought when I saw him was like, who the F is this kid? What does he know? I mean, I'm just gonna be honest. That was my first thought. Then I realized that that's my inclination, and I was like, okay, don't be an asshole. And I watched his video. Yeah, no, he's got cred. Like that show reel is legit. That's freaking legit. Like I don't care. I don't know who your clients are, but you show me that show reel, and I'm like, okay, I care what you have to say. But he's done a ton of work, right, Blunty?
Yeah, he's worked with PGA, Milwaukee Bucks, Toyota, CrossFit, and a bunch of other companies. And yeah, he's just basically, he shares his story and how he got on set. And one of the things, part of the clip we showed there, a lot of people think that the way to do this is you need a big show reel and then you need to push social media. You need to get a ton of views and get hit. Mm-hmm. And then the producer will see your video and then go, oh, I need to hire this guy. But he says his experience was he got hired because of connections he made, not social media. and the social media did nothing for him. He got hired because he was a PA on sets. He learned who people were. He knew people's names, and he basically just got emails and information to those people and shared information to show like, hey, this is what I want to do. Once you need a drone pilot, give me a call. I'm here. You can see that I can do this. And he shows that, he says that like, I proved by working as a PA to show that I could do the work with the team, know how the whole set and everything else works. So these producers suddenly now trust you to come on the set much more than they would some random guy who knows how to fly drones,
Yeah, I did a series a while back where I interviewed for professional drone pilots, Mr. Steele, Aaron Ciotti, Oh My God, and who was the fourth one? Fuck. Who was the fourth one? It was Nurk? It was Nurk. Okay. Whew. And they all talked about their path to being professional cinema pilots. And all of them stressed how important social media was in their come up, if you will. They specifically talked about showing the kind of work you can do. And Ciotti talked about making connections with people. He was like, find a production house and get your stuff in front of them. Don't just post on social media. But it seems like there's more than one way to get your name out there. And it's really good to see Ian's approach.
Yeah, he points out that like most of the time you're not going to get discovered through social media, but social media provides a portfolio of what your work is. Mm-hmm. So once you connect with somebody, then you share your Instagram, and then your Instagram has your show reel, and he's like, before I did any professional work, I would just go around my town and around the city and find, the coolest things I could possibly fly through. I would make show reels out of those areas, just to show off my skills in different levels and areas. And then I use that to get those original gigs to show producers what I did.
Yeah.
So
the flip side of the other thing that Ian points out that is, I think, really insightful is people in the FPV world think, I love FPV. I want to do FPV. I want to go and work on sets. I want to be a cinema FPV pilot. You don't know the first damn thing about what it's like to work on a set. And so you show up on day one and you're an expert FPV pilot, but you don't know what a DP is. You don't know how a set works, And Ian went the other direction and became really skilled at working on a set and knowing these people as a PA. Now, again, I don't know if everybody should take that path. Not everybody wants to be a PA, but it is nice to see that there's more than one way to get there.
Yep. His viewpoint also was more that like it's a really big gamble to just be on social media, try to get somebody to find you, poke random connections and stuff.
For sure.
It's much less of a gamble to take a job that's not paying a ton, but still all right, and then to build connections and somewhere that might be more guaranteed. So yeah, it's cool to see that perspective, and we're really happy he shared it.
Okay. Next up.
All right. Next up, we snuck in a new segment, which I've never done, called Cool Thing, but I don't know where else to put this, and it feels like a cool thing. So we're going to tell you about a cool thing.
Okay. What am I looking at?
Yeah. So ExpressLRS has recently done an S-Bus branch that we talked about. And my understanding is that S-Bus branch, along with some extra code from DJI, has enabled the RS2 with a patch to be fully controlled with an ExpressLRS receiver and your remote. You basically get full control of the RS2. You get to change modes, record, stop recording, and then, move it all around with the gimbals.
Well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, pretty neat.
I have
yet another application for ExpressLRS, and to show why open source is pretty cool stuff.
So I guess you would set the gimbal down and use it as like a tripod, or would you do this while you were moving handheld?
I mean, I'm sure you could do it either way. Yeah, you could probably have a second person be controlling it while you're at a distance. I think there's like a DJI version of the remote, but you can instead use this. So
okay,
yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Pretty cool stuff.
Next up, we've got some events. Oh, sorry.
Yes, we got some events. I wanted to let you know about an event that's a little short notice, and they mentioned as such, but we wanted to definitely let you know it's happening. If you can make it out to Denver for 420, you can go to the Tiny Whoop Open on April 22nd and 23rd, where Jesse Perkins is throwing a Tiny Whoop Open championship race. Tiny Whoop, 3 full send, and everybody have come together, and Daniel Sogano from iGal have come together to create the Tiny Whoop Open. So yeah, if you want
Yeah.
to buy tickets, you can buy tickets to this. It's a 62 ticket event, so 64 racers, I believe, is how it's going to work out. And then yeah, there are links to buy tickets on the Facebook post if you're interested in that.
Yeah, okay. We got another event in Dallas.
Yes. Next up, we've got another event, April 30th in Dallas. DFWFPV is having a meetup, and they wanted to invite you if you wanted to come out. It's going to be April 30th, 9 a.m. at Trinity Overlook Park in Dallas. People are helping each other with builds, getting new gear set up, and even helping people with tunes. Normally 10 to 20 people show up, so you'll have a few people there, but it's not crazy if you want to hop in. You do need to clear yourself through Lance, because the area it's in is in a Class B airspace, but that's not a big deal if you want to fly there. So yeah.
Okay. And one more. DCL.
One more we wanted to let you know DCL has been streaming. They're doing 18 races. I believe they're down to 3 of them have been done so far. The 2020, DCL 23 GP split. So if you're interested in seeing some racing, it is simulation racing currently, but you can check out DCL's YouTube page for those races and DCL's website for more information.
Okay, we've got a link right there, dcl.aero, where you can find out more information about that. Great. And this is the part where we would read super chats, but no one has left us any super chats.
Yeah, maybe
So
they're
instead,
in the other stream.
I hope there were no super chats before I yanked the other stream. I can check on that. I can actually check on that. Hold on. That's the ethical thing to do. Hold on. Let's just double check. Super chats. Nope. So instead, we're just going to glare at the camera for like 30 seconds when we would normally be reading super chats. You're not glaring at the camera. Do you not want to do the glare?
Sorry.
We don't have to do it. All right, let's go on. If we got one more story, we got It's Barely News.
All right. It's barely news. The only story in this barely news, it is a barely news this week, is that Chicago is going to debut the first commercial air taxi route in 2025. This is a pretty big deal because this is the first AAM company, Advanced Air Mobility Company. That's what we're calling air taxis these days.
Okay.
This will be the first company that'll be doing that. They'll be working out of the vertiport in Chicago, and they'll be providing travel from O'Hare to the vertiport, which should be a lot shorter and faster for people who are looking to get there in a different way. This
is a render, by the way, right? This is not... When can I see an actual air taxi taking off from an actual...
Prior to 2025 is what they say.
All right, well.
So normally I believe it's over an hour from O'Hare to the area where they're landing at. It'll be 10 minutes and it'll cost $100 to $150 presumably, as long as everything goes to plan.
All right, well, remind me in 2025 whether this panned out. Don't worry. Want to take odds?
We'll be updating you at the first sign of active air taxi.
Yeah, in fact, people can let us know by emailing news@fpvknowitall.com with
true.
Submissions. Let us know when it's air taxi or if it crashes and burns and kills a bunch of people. Let us know, news@fpvknowitall.com.
Yeah.
Ross has a drone. Thank you for a $1 super chat. You are my favorite commenter in the live stream today. That's what you get.
Just to let you guys, I like you all equally.
Oh, you're going to be the good parent. I see. That's fine. You gotta have it both ways. That's going to bring us to the end of the news for this week. Thank you guys for coming out. We will see you next week, and hopefully I will start the right live stream.
We'll see what happens.
One never knows.
You could find out if you show up for the next FPV news. We'll see you there.
Yeah.